You are told the gate is being fixed. New scanners, new guards, new encryption, stronger every single year. And still, somehow, the paper leaves the room before the ink has dried. Everyone blames the guard, the app, the broker, the network. But what if the leak was never attacking the gate? What if the gate was building the leak? May 2026. A girl named Nishat stepped down for the most important morning of her life. Her father, a shopkeeper in a small town outside New Delhi, had spent 2 years quietly selling overtime shifts to pay for coaching classes he never told the neighbors about. That morning, Neha had memorized formulas until 3 a.m. She had a lucky pen. She had promised her mother she would not cry either way. She had no idea that 400 kilometers away, in a rented flat with the curtains drawn, a coaching center employee named Sohail was photographing that same question paper on a phone with the flash disabled. Sohail wasn't a criminal by nature. He earned 18,000 rupees a month. Someone had offered him 400,000 for 90 seconds of access. He didn't think of himself as breaking a system. He thought of himself as finally being paid what information was worth. You don't need an exam hall to feel this tension. You've felt it in a visa queue that moved slower than a friend's, in a concert that sold out in 90 seconds while a resale link appeared in 91. Different doors, same ache, something valuable, and almost no way through. Ask why exams exist, and most people say, to measure knowledge. But imagine everyone scored perfectly, every answer correct. Would everyone become a doctor? No, because the exam was never only measuring knowledge, it was deciding who gets through. That is the exact moment a test stops being a test. It becomes a gate. Water doesn't argue with a dam. It searches for pressure, for a crack, for another way. This isn't new. In 1920s America, alcohol became illegal almost overnight. The demand didn't disappear. It simply found a new architecture. Within months, entire coastlines had informal shipping routes, and men who had never broken a law in their lives were suddenly running boats at midnight, because the price of getting a bottle across a border had gone up faster than anyone's conscience could keep pace with. Ancient cities controlled who could trade. Guilds controlled who could work. Ports controlled who could enter. And beside every one of those gates, something else quietly appeared. Smuggling, forgery, bribery. The official gate and the unofficial shortcut have always evolved together. The higher the wall, the more valuable the tunnel. So the exam paper was never the market, it was the currency. Once millions compete for a few thousand seats, certainty itself becomes a product. Not intelligence, not effort, certainty. Sohail didn't sell a document. He sold Neha's competitor 11 hours of not having to be afraid. Now watch what happens when institutions respond the only way they know how. More guards, thicker vaults, stronger alarms. Does that make the diamond less attractive to thieves? Or more? Every safeguard whispers the same message. What's behind this door is extraordinarily valuable. Security doesn't only protect value, sometimes it advertises it. This is why the arrests keep happening and the leaks keep returning. You cannot understand a river by arresting the water. Consider a woman named Tina, who runs, quietly, almost apologetically, a small visa consulting service out of a 2-room office in Chandigarh. She doesn't call herself a broker. She calls herself someone who understands the process better than the process understands itself. Her business exists for the same reason Sohail's opportunity existed. Somewhere, a gate had grown so narrow that people were willing to pay simply to feel less afraid of it. Replace the app, another one appears. Replace the paper, someone breaches the server. The technology was never the engine, the incentive was. Which brings us back to the real question: why do leaks keep winning even as security keeps improving? Because security was never competing against information. It was competing against incentives. And incentives don't play by the same rules. You can encrypt a document. You cannot encrypt desire. You can guard a building. You cannot guard ambition. The leak was never proof the system failed. It was proof the system had created a reward large enough for an invisible economy to organize itself around it. The question stops being, how do we stop the next leak? It becomes, what kind of system inevitably produces one? Once you see it, you don't stop seeing it. The passport office, the housing list, the hospital wait list, every one of them is a gate, and beside every gate, something is already growing quietly in its shadow. Nobody designed it in a meeting. No ministry approved a memo that read, "Let's create brokers." Incentives designed it, without anyone signing off. Neha passed her exam, eventually. Sohail was arrested 11 weeks later, one of 43 people named in an FIR that made the news for exactly 2 days. Tina is still in her 2-room office in Chandigarh, still not calling herself anything in particular. 3 people, 3 completely different relationships to the same gate. None of them designed the system they were standing inside. All of them were shaped by it before they ever made a single choice. Neha will forget the name of the exam board within a few years. Sohail's case will be one line in a court registry nobody reads twice. Tina's office will still be there next monsoon, the paint a little more faded. None of them were the story. They were symptoms of it. 3 people standing at different distances from the same invisible structure. Because somewhere, right now, another gate is narrowing. Another family is rearranging its savings around a single date on a calendar. And somewhere close to that gate, closer than any one official will admit, someone is already calculating what certainty is worth. We keep asking who broke the gate. We rarely ask what the gate was always going to build beside itself. Every gate creates its own black market. Once you see one hidden system, you start seeing all of them. The rest are on this channel, one at a time. Subscribe if you'd rather see it before it's explained to you.